On this episode of Cigars and Sea Stories, Bennett and Mike are sitting down to recap the crazy motorcycle adventure that was Raleigh to Michigan, but then also to talk about corn.
So where are you in Michigan?
Right now, I am currently up in Traverse City.
So where the fuck is Traverse City exactly?
It is, if you're looking at...
This is for our listeners.
The palm of your right hand, the tip of your pinky, that's where Traverse City, Michigan is. So if you look at the palm of your right hand and then you go up to the tip of your pinky, that's where Traverse is.
Okay.
That's it. Boom.
So it's not technically in the UP?
No, not at all.
No, it's not in the UP. It's just way left, high and to the left.
Yeah, it's in northwestern lower peninsula of Michigan. I don't think that you can not technically be in the UP. There's a 5-mile bridge that goes in between the lower and the northern.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is it the Mackinac or the Mackinac? Which one?
Yeah. Well, the
bridge.
It's pronounced Mackinac, but yeah,
Mackinac.
It's Mac.
Yeah.
It's French. Yeah.
It looks Mackinac.
It was actually the longest bridge in the world until someplace in Asia made a longer bridge, and it's the longest suspension bridge. Massive, huge cement caissons that hold up, either side of the suspension. And supposedly, while they were pouring the giant caissons, you can't stop. You have to do it all in one gigantic pour of cement so that it all hardens together. And one or two dudes fell into that shit from like way up on high, wham, and probably just slapping the concrete killed them. But they're in there. So
right.
Talk about a fucking time capsule. You know what I mean?
No shit, that's crazy.
Like maybe we should crack open some of these ruins and see if there's any bones. I don't know. It's nuts, dude. Can you imagine? I mean, whatever that guy was wearing, whatever's in his wallet. I mean, the guy was at work and then just dropped into a thing of cement. That's crazy.
That's a shitty way to die right there, man.
I hope he was dead when he slapped against the concrete. I don't want to drown in concrete. Oh
God, could you imagine?
No, I can't. Oh, that would suck.
Fuck.
I've thought about it, dude, because I learned about that when I was a kid. So, I mean, I learned about that, a good 25 years ago.
That's some Jimmy Hoffa shit.
Right. Well, he's in Giants Stadium. We all know.
Whatever. It's just, it's the whole put a body in concrete and a big ass pillar of concrete.
Right.
Dude, I wonder how many buildings in New York City have people in like the foundation of the buildings.
That's creepy.
Think about that.
And we're not the first people to come up with that. Come on.
No, of course not. But seriously.
Right.
Like, what does that do to like the energy of a building?
Dude, you know what I was thinking about one time? And we are entirely off topic from a motorcycle trip.
I know. And it's not that hard to do. So,
you know what I was thinking one time is they can't figure out the secret to Roman concrete. And I came up with this theory that it's human bone, the addition to Roman concrete. There's some like the aqueduct concrete where they added shell.
Right. Yeah.
Right. And there's
shell. Well, and they still do that in certain types of concrete now.
Right. But I was like, maybe you can donate your skeleton towards concrete manufacturing for a tax write-off.
I wonder how much of that goes. Like, how much of that would it take? Like, how many parts per million?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
See, this is something.
Do you need like one human skeleton, one average human skeleton per, 2 tons of concrete or what? So, come on. What's your theory?
I'm going to say that it's 2 bags of concrete and then grandma's skeleton, and we're going to make a nice memorial out of that. That's how.
I'm not sitting on that fucking thing.
It's a couple of bags of Quickcrete and grandma, and then it's going to be like a planter box.
Since we're talking about this, though, what do you think about the urns that you fill the ashes? You put the ashes in the urns, but they're also filled with a seedling,
yeah.
like a tree seedling, and then you plant that shit.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of badass.
I do too.
Just saying, just putting it out there.
Grow some purple sticky punch in me. You know what I mean? Just whatever the trending strand of cannabis is at the time. You could just throw in my urn, mix me all up. Did you ever see How High? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
He smokes his buddy in the plant, and then he comes to him as a ghost and helps him with tests and shit like that.
Very
Don't
nice.
worry, guys. I'll be there for you. Come back as a freaking ghost.
I'll smoke the shit out of your ass.
I was thinking about it on the ride up.
Smoking to another level.
Right, exactly. Whoa, excuse me. I wound up, like on the ride up here. Oh, dude, I got to tell you this story. Just because it blinked into my head, right? I'm hauling ass just coming out of West Virginia up through Ohio. And, I had left Raleigh. It was probably like 7 a.m, whatever, and got through West Virginia. All was fine. It's all good. And I come up over.
Reiterate, you're riding your motorcycle, correct?
Right. I'm riding a 2012 Harley Davidson Softail black line that is matte black with one red pinstripe, and it says Harley Davidson down the side. And I've got a multi-cam full mountain ruck along with my Camelback day pack, which is attached to the back of it, slid down my sissy bar so that I can lean back against it. And I've taken my ISO mat and put that across my handlebars the way that guys would go old school and put a blanket across there or something like that.
Yep.
I'm like, yeah, I've got my ISO mat and it works perfect. It is fantastic. Go ahead, steal that idea. And so I'm like ready for bear. You know what I mean? Full leathers. I've got on leather chaps over top of, like, typically I'll wear cami trousers, believe it or not. Like if I'm wearing chaps, I want to wear a lighter material underneath.
Yep.
So I just grab an old pair of cami trousers and throw those on. And then leather jacket with my cut over top. And I actually wore a Camelback, my old Camelback on the way up here, because you're riding for 12 hours. I mean, you're going to be thirsty while you're rolling down the road, which that's the greatest thing in the world. Just rolling down the road, getting a little Camelback action. Delish. So I'm in southern Ohio and I come up over this hill and all is blue skies. There's a couple of clouds and stuff like that, and kind of go through the trees up and around this hill. And there is this just ominous storm off in the distance. I'm like, oh shit, that sucks a lot. And so I come down, I'm coming down this, 3 or 4 hills later, I'm coming down this hill and it's just like a straight shot, kind of down the hill and then an overpass. And then it's a little straight shot up the hill. So basically I'm seeing, 3 miles of straight road, right? The storm just breaks open in front of me. There's 8 or 9 lightning strikes up ahead. The cars that are driving in the road slam on their brakes and everybody starts putting on their hazards. And I'm like, oh, this is going to suck a lot. Like a lot. And so, awesome. It's open. It is just open highway, except for that overpass. It is trying to get to the overpass on the other side before I am trying to get to the overpass in order to see cover. And so I just throttle just as fast as I can possibly go. And then the front edge of the storm starts to hit me. It sprinkles in the face and then whap, like a big fatty raindrop smacks me right in the mug. And I'm just like, oh, that sucks. And all of a sudden the rear end is hydroplaning a little bit and it's a torrential downpour. It literally was like being caught in a wave. It was crazy, dude. And I had nothing over my face, so I wasn't ready for how much water was going to actually just rush into me. And I downshift, kind of let it roll as far as, I'm not neutral, but I've got the clutch in and I'm hovering over top of the front brake. Just dare not touch that rear fucking brake. You know what I mean? Like I've downshifted as far as I can go and I've got to putter myself up underneath of this overpass and I am just sopping wet. I mean, sopping. It was like I jumped in the ocean kind of a deal.
Shit.
And so I got up underneath of there and clicked up my hazards and then shut the bike down and made sure that I was in like the driest part, right? Which technically wasn't really under the overpass because it was coming in so fast that I was just on the edge of the overpass. And so I had passed some construction cones. I actually almost hit one, the big construction barrels with the rubber bottom, So I ran back out to the rubber barrels and rolled those out onto the edge, just like onto the white line of the shoulder so that no one had hit Matilda. And yeah, dude, I wanted to make sure that my phone, wasn't wet and everything else because it was in a forward pocket and I needed to get deeper inside, So I pulled it out real quick, grabbed my shamag that I was wearing, and just kind of rubbed the screen off and snapped a quick photo. I'll be sure to put it on the show notes. And then tucked it as deep inside of my belly as I could and made for cover. Like, it happened so quick that I definitely couldn't get the tarp out that was underneath, or that was on the top of my pack. There was no time to be able to deploy a tarp or do anything like that under there. It just kind of moved over, and in 5 to 10 minutes, boom, it was gone. But I mean, there were cars under the overpass with me. Like, there was a goddamn SUV under the overpass with me. He was like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going out in that. Like, you know, and here's this dude on a Harley in the middle of this godforsaken storm. And I knew something bad was coming because I saw other motorcyclists that were riding with rain gear. And my rain gear, unfortunately, I don't have any rain gear. But anyway, that was the first time I got caught in rain, and I only hit rain 2 other times, but it was nothing like that. And I was dry by the time I got home, you know, but I rolled into my hometown of Midland, Michigan at 10 o'clock at night, you know, and then I was good. I'm alive. Hey. And then we wound up coming up to Traverse City and hanging out up here. This is where we enjoy getting together as a family and vacationing, and I've never had a motorcycle up in this area. So imagine, if you will, you're a kid growing up, going here for vacation, kind of daydreaming about it. Like, man, I am about to tear these hills apart. You know, and I've already gone and cruised through some of the different areas that when I was a kid, I always wanted to come back, you know, and bang gears in a roadster, or like come back on a motorcycle or something like that. So that's what I'm doing. I'm hanging out up here, and then I'm going to come see you. And then I'm going to go to a wedding. And then I'm going down to DC. It's a 3,000-mile motorcycle adventure, and I'm 1/3 of the way through it. Boom.
Is your wife still in North Carolina, or is she up in Massachusetts right now?
We timed it to where she's in North Carolina right now. Okay. But we timed it to where her and the kids are flying over to Massachusetts and then down. So they're kind of like on their own concurrent timeline. All right. Yeah, buddy. And it's cool too, because I'm hitting up fellow veterans along the way and seeing different folks that I wouldn't otherwise have the opportunity to make contact with. Right. And that's one of the main reasons, especially why I wanted to talk about it on the show, is because I'm always down for riding with fellow veterans, especially if they want to do something crazy. Like I thought about doing, I want to do a thing called a 40 and 40. I want to do I-40 in either 40 days or in 40 hours. So I-40 in 40 hours will be by car, and 40 in 40 days will be by motorcycle. But that's something that I kind of dreamt up that I want to do, where I hang out.
Now, are we talking east to west or east to west and back?
Yeah, so it would be 20 days either way.
20 days out, 20 days back.
Yes, because there's,
that's a cool fucking trip right there.
Yeah, man.
Starting in Wilmington.
Yes,
because that's where 40 starts or ends, whichever way you
right.
want to go, and then it goes all the way out to
L.A.
Is it Burbank or Bakersfield? All the way out to
Burbank. Not Bakersfield.
Well, I know Bakersfield is freaking, north, but
right.
I'm just trying to remember the sign as you leave Wilmington. There's a sign that says, does it say Burbank? I feel like it says Bakersfield.
Like it's like however many thousand,
2,600 some miles. This shit,
right?
So talk about fucking corn.
So in North Carolina, we actually, there's not a whole lot of corn. I see more tobacco fields than I see anything else, which I appreciate. But if you've ever, just driven through America, you understand what I'm talking about. We have a shit ton of corn.
Metric shit ton, especially through Ohio, which you drove through yesterday.
Yes. So. But specifically in northern Michigan, where we have rolling hills and trees.
I got to cut you off real quick. So when you go through Ohio, do you go north to Columbus, or do you cut left and go through Dayton and then up that way? Because if you're going to Midland, you'd probably go up to Columbus, right? Now, if you were going straight to Traverse City, it'd be cool to cut over and go through like Battle Creek, that whole side, instead of going up through Lansing, all the other shit.
It'd be cool.
Ann Arbor.
It'd be cool, but the fastest route is 270 or up 23 and then take 23 to where it comes together with 75 and then 23 all the way up through Ann Arbor.
Yeah.
And then when it comes back together, Saginaw.
So the eastern route, I guess, is what I would call it. Because you know what I'm talking about? The western side, there's the one you can go through. Yeah. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I've driven both of them. So that's why I asked.
Well, then I'm a really unique area in Traverse City. If you folks haven't heard of it before, I highly suggest you check it out. Same thing with Mackinac Island. You know, if you guys get a chance, check out kind of like the gems of the north. There's really no comparison because you're going to be staring at these gigantic, massive inland freshwater, oceans essentially, that are just so crazy, crystal clear. I mean, it's way clearer than the Caribbean. I mean, there are places in northern Michigan. Well, you've seen these images on like Pinterest where a boat is floating in the water and it looks like it's just floating on air because it's just crazy clear. It's all spring-fed lakes and stuff like that. It's just nuts. So, anyway,
that's what the sign says. I'm not saying Bakersfield. What I was saying is actually the route that it gives you, because technically where I-40 ends. I wasn't even aware. I thought it went all the way to the coast. Technically, I-40 ends in Barstow.
Yeah.
That's where it ends. And then you can either take 58 over to Bakersfield or you can go south on 15 into LA. The LA greater LA area, I should say. So, yeah, man. That's what the sign says. Barstow.
Right.
Okay. Now I'm aware. Because I've never done it. I've never gone side to side on 40. I've taken 10 from coast to coast, but never 40. So
yeah. Well, and I've done the northern route, the southern route.
Yeah, I've done 10 and I've done 80 from coast to coast, but that's it.
Yeah.
So 40 would be pretty fucking cool.
40 is cool. There's not a whole.
What I'll do is drive the motorhome while you guys ride your bikes, because I'm not buying a fucking another motorcycle. It's not gonna happen.
Hell yeah. Yeah, just don't, run us over.
No, I'll be the guy. I'll be the guy with I'll be the recon element.
I'll tell you what.
And I'll have it all parked, and then you guys can pull in, and I'll have cold drinks and a campfire waiting for you.
Hell yeah.
So,
I'll tell you what.
And some cigars.
We'll turn it into, like, when people see it, they'll think that it's a death machine, but really we're just turning you into like a land missile so that we can draft the shit out of you.
Yes.
Which would be great.
And we'll have it set up so if it rains, this fucking canopy comes off the back and you guys just ride underneath it.
Oh, it's like, it's like flowing in the wind.
Right.
And we're just under this thing.
Yeah.
You know what? Fuck it. Let's put some flat screens on the back. I don't need to pay attention to the road. No, let's get the full.
Like you're running a video game.
Right. Before you know it, all we're really doing is just towing a car behind a motorhome, and you guys are enjoying a picture show. Like, that's essentially, that's where we're going.
Speaking of corn, I have some. Oh my God, hold on.
Well, and I was bringing up corn specifically because of the rolling hills of Traverse City, and in this area it's got a patchwork quilt, and anybody who knows what I'm talking about, it's got tree lines and it's got culverts or ditches in between these patchwork quilt areas of corn. And it bears a resemblance to Helmand Province in Afghanistan. And so
it's like grid squares.
Well, no, it's not up here. It's a smattering. It follows the terrain, right? So you've got this misshapen, piece of terrain with a tree line all the way around it, or like a hedgerow.
Yeah. So like a hedgerow is a good way to put it.
Right. And so you're coming, see, in Afghanistan especially, okay, there were all of these areas where you needed to basically cross a ditch. I mean, that's all that it boiled down to, is a ditch. And then on the other side, you had a hedgerow, you had a tree line, you had bare earth, you had natural lines of drift. Okay, so what we were looking around for is IEDs down inside of those ditches because they didn't want you to cross certain lines that are out there. And of course, well, shit, man, that's where I would put an IED. You know what I mean? And it was more often than not thinking, where would I put an IED? Let's go not where they would put an IED in order to go where the enemy is so that we can snuff them out and kill that evil son of a bitch. But what northern Michigan reminds me of with all of the corn as I'm rolling around is parts of Afghanistan. But of course, I'm like, I'm rolling mock Jesus on hardball, looking at God's green America. It's fantastic. It's just all of that goddamn corn. And we patrolled through corn because, I was in Afghanistan through October. So, I mean, the corn's starting to get pretty high around the beginning of August. And then you start, walking into corn and you're like, no, this sucks. I don't want to do this. You want a periscope if you're walking through corn.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
You gotta understand, that was one of my first jobs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Was detasseling corn.
Oh, nice.
So do you understand? Do I need to explain this?
Explain it to the listener. Yes.
Go ahead and finish your point, and then I'll explain.
Oh, just if you're in the middle of a cornfield, somebody opens fire on you. I mean, you have a pretty good chance of getting shot. So, you didn't really want to fight from the inside of a cornfield out. That sucks. And that was something that was on my mind the other day as I watched this path.
I couldn't even fucking imagine. I know what it's like walking through corn, but I couldn't imagine what it's like fighting. Fuck that. You can't see shit. You better put a motherfucker on top of like your shoulders because you ain't, you know what I mean?
Just saying, you want a fucking periscope. Right? You're like,
or a drone or something. Fuck.
Right.
I don't know, man. That shit's fucked.
And it's not, people are thinking like bullets chopping down corn and all of this other stuff. And it's like, no, man, I wish that's what we were talking about here, because that would have been easier to deal with. You're talking about a bullet just ripping through the corn. One bullet. Think about like pow, and then you hear it hitting all of the brush going through the corn on the way towards you or past you, and then it snaps as it goes past. You never really get a inside of a cornfield. It's always like, shack, 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 shack. I can't make fast enough. It's like a million little clicks all at once, and then it snaps as it goes past you. So it's kind of like, I can't even explain it. It's the weirdest thing in the world. It's like, and then you hear the muzzle report afterwards. So it's, going past you all at once, like rushing. It's kind of like flicking the edge of a book. So if you have, if you've got Gone with the Wind with you real quick, it's like flicking through the edge of pages is what it sounds like as a bullet goes through, and then it snaps real quick. And that snap, and then you hear a muzzle report.
Right.
So you just hear this like ripping, snap, pow, ripping, snap, pow, ripping, snap, pow. It's not like, oh, they're mowing the bushes, and then you can dive down underneath of it. What do? Do you take cover? Where do you go?
Ain't nowhere to fucking hide.
Well, and that's the thing is...
Oh, you can hide. There's concealment. There ain't no fucking cover.
Right. Well, and in between the plants, right at the root structure, is pretty much the only, kind of cover that you have. But now you're inside of a row. So if they decide to go down a row, you're super screwed. Because they do try to row their corn the same way that we do. I mean, they want to see the edge rows also. Yeah. Anyway, it's just nuts. And then we have SOPs to where it's like, okay, we're going to cross through all of this. But why would you walk through a field? People are like, why the hell would you ever do that? Because they don't put IEDs there. They don't put bombs where you're growing corn. Duh. To me, one of those moments like, and they don't put bombs where farmers walk, and farmers don't walk where there are bombs. And part of our job was interacting with them in order to, to weed out the enemy and figure out where the enemy was. Because the farmers did not like the Taliban. They didn't like Taliban rule, especially around Sangin. But the farmers, especially out in Kajaki and stuff like that,
Now, why didn't they like them? Would they demand parts of their crop or something, or you know what I mean?
Well,
it's probably way deeper than that, but I'm just saying. A lot of times it really comes down to something that simple.
Well, I truly understood it, actually, believe it or not, when I read through the idea of the initiation of communism in Russia, where farmers were getting their land taken away. And then essentially saying you're going to work the same land, only now you're going to grow all of these crops. And then all of those crops are going to go into the urban epicenters, because basically they wanted to manufacture. And that was the only thing that mattered, is just manufacturing kind of deal. Gotcha. And I, of course, am giving the cliff notes on this. Yeah. So in Afghanistan, it was one of those things where they came in with outside farmers to grow poppy among other fields which farmers in the area are all too happy to grow poppy. Don't get me wrong. It's a cash crop. The problem is they're bringing in outside help, right? So inside of the mechanism, inside of civilian agriculture in Afghanistan, they have their own sharecroppers that come up from the south to farm poppy. That poppy gets sold through the Taliban chains, and frankly, us on the ground can't really do a whole lot about it as far as the farmers, because they're just trying to make a living. It's where it goes next in the chain, and you can't, we're looking to address and provide alternative crops. That was one of the things that we had talked about in the region, is what is some of the other vegetation that they could grow aside from poppy that would be just as lucrative. But, we need poppy too. You already know that. We consume 99% of the world's opioids. Where do you think all that poppy's going? So, but it was the reason why they didn't like it is because they've got that system set up internally by themselves, entirely independent of anyone else. That is tribal. There's no government control. And then the Taliban is, that's worse than government control to a lot of people. But then, it's funny, too, because the farmers, you're talking about these folks specifically in Kajaki. None of them could read or write. But they set up this intricate network of how to farm and make money for the given village, which it's more on a bartering system so that they have what they need. And they're not necessarily always growing cash crops. So they need to be able to move and exchange. And where those currents are, those like lines of drift that natural human beings have created, we can easily patrol. It's all of the areas in between where the Taliban would sneak up through the cornfields and then start laying down IEDs that were typically, they would try to lay them down closer to like our patrol base or towards the FOB or something like that. They wouldn't try to put them in the middle of a patrol. They would try to put it to where you're going to get hit pretty soon outside of the wire. And then if you move through an area, they always try to backlay you. That was just something that just always happened. And sometimes we would just about face. There was one time, I still to this day know for a fact that it was a terrible call. Our platoon commander was out, and frankly, he was in charge of the patrol. It was kind of crazy. We went walking through the middle of this danger area, and we were my fellow section leader and I were outside the wire with our platoon commander, the police chief, the sergeant major of the police, all in one patrol. And we weren't even doing like a leadership engagement. We were just doing a leader's recon. And then we walked through the middle of this danger area over top of crossed logs. I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, this is stupid. And so, but I'm in the middle of the patrol, and Pablo is, a good 50 feet behind me, 60 feet behind me, proper dispersion. So we went through this danger area, and I'm like, fuck that. We're not going back through there on the way. They about faced, and we went walking back through that.
Jesus.
And I waited 20 minutes. Like, I'm not bullshitting you. I halted the patrol and waited 20 minutes before I walked through it. So, like, the guy went, and then, the guy in front of me went, and then I just sat there and waited. And everybody's like, what is Sergeant Penny doing? I just fucking waited. And so I went through, and I turned around, and I told the Afghan, I was like, you fucking wait. And I pointed my gun at his leg and was like, I'll make you wait. And he was like, all right, no problem, kind of a deal. And I knew him.
I'll make you wait.
Right. I'll make you wait, motherfucker. Because I knew him. I knew the guy. Anyway. So I go up to like a portion of the danger area, and I just break into a dead sprint and go jumping through this danger area. And then make it over onto the other side. The Afghan behind me steps into the middle of the cross and jumps over the danger area. And right behind him is our platoon commander. And boom! IED goes off. Platoon commander was like, nut to butt on this fucking dude. It was like he was trying to jump over top of the danger area with him. And sure shit, IED goes off. He catches a little nick on his shoulder. Whoop-de-doo. But like...
Make your asshole pucker.
Yeah, but I was like, bro, I'm pretty sure we just lost LT. What the fuck's going on here? And, Pablo and I, we knew what was up. Hajis don't squat the way that people think that they squat for a reason. they squat on the balls of their feet so that they don't stand on IEDs in the middle of contact. Right. And that's the idea. So Pablo and I quickly dropped down to the balls of our feet. We did not take a knee. It looked like we were taking a knee. We did not take a knee. And then, your ranger file with paint lines on either side of you, and an IED goes off in the middle of your patrol, and your platoon commander is in the middle of it. And we're just looking around like, the hell are we going to do? I mean, we could advance to cover. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't one of those things where it was like, oh, shit, bro, we're in the middle of this. What the hell are we going to do? No, it's like, well, where the fuck are these cocksuckers so that I can fucking kill them? Because I was pissed. I was fucking pissed. And I looked over and there were a couple of, like high school kids that took off around the corner. They were like high school age kids down an alleyway and around the corner right when the bomb went off. And of course, everybody scatters. You don't want bombs going off near your house. But they had to have been watching us from afar. And it was just one of those where it's like, all right, you blew up the middle of the patrol because you saw that you could get an Afghan and a Marine at the same time. So they decided to take their chance, and detonate the thing if it's on a command wire. Well, if it's on a fucking command wire, if it's on a cell phone or something like that. I mean, if it's on a cell phone, he's a ways away. Don't get me wrong. But if it's on a command wire, which they were using command wires back then because they knew that we had cell signal deterrence and stuff. So pretty crazy, man.
Oh shit.
That was the first IED of Afghanistan. And I mean, there were 3 IEDs in Afghanistan that I experienced. I mean, it was nothing. It was like, thank God, compared to Ramadi, but yeah, IEDs when you're on foot are crazy, dude. Cause I'm used to getting blown up in a truck, like I didn't really get
it's kind of fucked,
but I didn't really.
Yeah. I'm used to getting blown up in a truck,
right.
Not walking around,
I mean, the only time that I got hit was when I was in a high back. I mean, my truck caught some shrapnel and stuff like that, and other things blew up and, gas blew up and other stuff like that. But my truck didn't sustain severe damage. When I was in the high back, it definitely did. It blew off like the back left tire and kind of sent me spinning a little bit. And thankfully we didn't have anybody in the back, and I had the front left tire shot out from underneath of me through the hood. But it was weird going through an IED on foot. I mean, just everything's, now all of a sudden you're in a black cloud. Weird.
We're so far down a rabbit hole where we first started with this episode.
I'm pretty sure we're still in the middle of cornfields.
Rabbit holes.
That's where the last IED I got hit by was in the middle of a fucking cornfield.
It's fucked.
Yeah, dude, you're in a cornfield and then like that. You know what I'm talking about? That feeling in your chest.
Yeah, the overpressure, the back pressure.
Right, because everybody knows what I'm talking about. If you've ever been around anything artillery
that blows up, basically,
that's it. You don't need to be hit by an IED to understand what I'm talking about. You can see artillery getting blown up. You can feel, or like a 1,000-pounder dropping or something like that. You can feel that like in your chest.
Oh yeah. Fuck yeah.
Oh man. Oh fuck.
That shit's no joke.
Dude, and like I distinctly remember feeling the wave hit my shoulders and then go down through my hips to where, like, you know how you feel a wave in the ocean hit you in the hips and it makes you want to lean forward into it?
Yes.
And it suspends you for a time and then you're slow motion falling down to the bottom of the ocean, essentially, you know?
I totally know what you mean.
That only concussive force through air in the middle of a cornfield. And then, like, you're on your stomach.
Crazy.
What the fuck was that? Oh, man. Yeah.
So I have corn in my garden that's coming up nicely.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat the shit out of some corn tonight, too. Not in shit, but corn. So I've got this way that I grill it. It's fucking badass, bro. So, yeah, man. Dude. That's what I'm doing with fucking corn.
For you and the listener's sake, have you ever tried Mexican corn?
Well, I mean, what do you mean? Like, from Mexican or the way that it's way that it's prepared?
Yeah, the way that it's prepared.
Yeah.
So it's sweet corn. You butter up the outside, you grill it, And then you cover it in mayonnaise and sprinkle chili powder on it.
Yes.
So banging.
Yeah. So I do something sort of similar, except for I don't use mayonnaise. I use what's called it's called basting oil, and it's made mainly with sunflower oil, and then I have herbs and chili powder that I sprinkle over it at the end.
Yeah.
That shit is no fucking joke. And every once in a while, there's also, you can sprinkle like you'll see places that, like Mexican places, that'll sprinkle queso fresco over it as well. The Mexican cheese, the nice fresh cheese, they'll sprinkle that over it too, which is whole shit. Is that good, bro?
Divine.
So I'm cooking that with chicken speedies, which is more of a, you've ever heard of speedies? Probably not, because it's a very central New York type of thing. Basically all it is, it's a certain type of marinade, and you can use any kind of meat. They used to use lamb a lot, but now chicken is the most popular. So you can do beef, pork, whatever, but you just kind of chunk it up, and then it's like shish kebabs without the skewers, and you just grill the shit out of it, and it's a certain marinade they put it in, but it's so fucking good. So you can either just eat it or eat it on like a sub roll, or that's the way they serve it, is in a speedies and a sub roll. And because of the marinade, like, you need no sauce or any of that shit. And then I'm cooking, I'm char grilling some chicken wings, which are just fucking badass.
Yes.
Which I think, didn't you have that at my house last time you were at my house? Like when I lived in Delaware, did I cook wings when you came or not? Do you remember?
No, because it was just
we came from DC. That's why.
Yeah.
It was quick.
You lived in a very nice place on base. I enjoyed it. I was there for all of maybe 6 hours, slept
and then drove back to wherever. Yes, I remember now. Got it. I think when Parkhurst came to visit, I think I cooked wings.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't even have time to fucking cook when you were there, because we drove. You followed me from Was it Baltimore? Or you followed me from Baltimore to Dover, and then basically we smoked, went to bed,
chilled,
and that was it.
Yep. I was smoking and joking on the back porch, and then
went to fucking bed.
And it was funny too, because that was the American Legion National Conference.
Yes, correct. That's why we were there.
It was good.
Good shit. So do we want some corn facts?
Yeah, let's do some corn facts to wrap this up.
It's fucking crazy, bro. 3,500 different uses for corn. You're like, say what?
Right? How many for hemp?
I have no idea, but a lot. But almost everything that you can use corn for, basically. Because there's literally, you can use corn for products ranging all the way from like peanut butter to fucking batteries. All right. And I know that they can also create like, obviously they use it to produce ethanol too, especially in this country, a shit ton of it. But I know that they can use it to make all kinds of like stuff, like oils, and basically they can make plastic out of corn as well, which is crazy. Yeah. So anyway,
it's nuts.
It is.
There you go.
It's freaking crazy.
And that right there is why you listen to the end. And I would like to thank all of our veteran-owned and operated sponsors, which we collaborate with one another. It's one of those things. It's not like a transaction thing. We collaborate. Veterans List.
And we've got each other's backs when it comes to shit. Like we advertise their stuff. They advertise ours. It's a big sharing, caring conglomerate.
Sharing is caring. So, anywhoozle, veteranslist.us. You guys rock. Thank you so much for being so supportive. And they are going through an up phase. It's fantastic. But you can get a featured membership on veteranslist.us half off by entering discount code Cigars and Sea. That's 50% off by entering discount code Cigars and Sea for a featured membership on veteranslist.us. Thank you to Spartan Media for building a kick-ass website. We do appreciate the ongoing support. And of course, Heroes Media Group. Adam Bird, I love you, Broheem. And, of course, the editing staff. And I say staff because if you're not familiar with Heroes Media Group, they're growing. Every day they're growing. They have big, huge announcements coming out. They're doing new things. And upfitting and revamping, and you get the gist.
They offer transcriptioning now, so
yes,
transcribing service,
right? And I for one feel that their editing staff is top notch. And oh my goodness, it's such a weight off your shoulders when somebody else is doing the editing. At least from
fuck yes.
So if you're a fellow podcaster and you're looking to get out there in a bigger way and you need help with the editing and all of that other good stuff, give Heroes Media Group a call. Be part of the network, and we would love to cross-pollinate with you. That'd be so awesome. So anyway, folks, really do appreciate you listening to another episode of Cigars and Sea Stories. As per usual, we went down a couple of threads. I think we brought it back there in the end with the corn factoids. Thank you so much.
Just a weird fucking episode.
It is. It always is, I think. And on that note, we cue the music.